So what then made you feel that you could walk away from this almost an empire? I want to say, not in a bad way, but almost an empire, and go on to do something else that you're very passionate about. At PathPoint, I mean, you were the CEO top dog, right? You were very influential within the core space, and then you stepped over to be the CEO in a completely another industry. So, how did you? Yeah, what made you feel that you could do that you could be successful?
Oh, it's sort of a sad story, but we lost our daughter, age 14, to suicide in 2016, February 2nd, 2016. She had what we feel was undiagnosed borderline personality disorder, which is a very serious mental illness that most practitioners don't diagnose in kids, even though all the science says that you can diagnose it in kids and you should. For a long time, it wasn't, and many people still don't. And in our case, they didn't. And she never got the treatment she needed, even though we struggled trying to find it. And she took her life at a very young age. And that, for me, it just changed what I wanted to do with my life. And I wanted to focus on the issues that took her away from us. And as much as I cared about conservation corps and that work, and 26 years of my life I spent doing it, I felt like I needed to do a different path for me. And it was hard to walk away. It was hard. I mean, before she died, as you say, I was CEO of this national organization that had gone from 2 staff in one corner of one state to working in 45 states and $20 million agency and one of the 2 or 3 biggest corps in the country. And I was at one point chair of the Core Network Board of Directors, and I was leading this coalition. And when they set up the 21st Century Conservation Corps Federal Advisory Committee, they made me chair of that. And I was like doing it all. And then all of a sudden, I didn't want to do it anymore. I needed to do something else. And I came out. I was fortunate that an agency like PathPoint would hire me with basically no experience in that field at all. I knew nothing. I couldn't have told you the difference between Medicare and Medicaid. And it's been 3.5 years, and I have learned a huge amount about a very big system that is going through all kinds of changes. It's actually sort of an exciting time to be in it because of the amount of change that's going through it. And I've been able to be involved at the state level and work with a lot of folks here, and be able to do some of the stuff similar to what I did with the corps. Though it's a different system, it's a different feeling. But I guess for me right now, it does feel that every day I'm trying to do something that addresses the stuff that so impacted my family. I've also spent a lot of time the last 3.5 years writing a book about our experience that's near the final stages of being finished. My daughter was a prolific writer, and so we have her first person accounts through writings, as well as emails, text, social media, all that, of what she was going through, as well as our experience in trying to demonstrate that kids, children, teenagers, young adults can get this horrific disorder, and we need to do something about it as a society because we're losing a lot of brilliant young people. So that's sort of a long story of how I really shifted almost completely. It's still a nonprofit field, but otherwise it's a very different field.
Well, first, thank you, Harry, for sharing that story with everyone and all of us. Obviously, I still feel for you. And, I won't go into this, here, but again, just thank you. And I'm really looking forward, as I'm sure everyone is now looking forward to the release of your book, because I'm sure it's going to be extremely powerful, given that you have actual words, thoughts of your from your daughter that you can share, and from your family that I'm sure other parents and youth, as they read it, will understand that they're not alone in what's going on, and this could be something that helps them out profoundly. Thank you for sharing that. Um, I guess when you, oh, were you gonna say something?
Well, I was just going to say, I think that it's the issues around mental health are so monstrous in our country. You think about 1 out of every 5 people has a mental health disorder. I mean, that's a huge number of people who are having trouble functioning. And you think about young people, the Corps worked with youth, the amount of trauma that some young people go through and how that impacts their lives. The homeless issue, what's going on there has a lot of overlap with mental health issues. The prison populations in this country, the overlap with mental health issues. It's something that impacts so widely the fabric of our country and is not being dealt with or talked about. I mean, we just had laws on mental health parity so that you can not just, it's been some years, but they aren't even being fully followed, where mental health has to be covered the same way as physical health in insurance. It's been shunned and been a taboo for a long, long time. We're finally getting people talking about the number of athletes who've come forward, the number of musicians and artists and actors who've talked about their own mental health struggles. We still don't see it in many of our political leaders talking about it. We don't see it in many of our business leaders because there's still this perceived thing that it's a sign of weakness, that it's not real, that you can just feel better. But these are real problems that need to get shown up and need to get examined and need to be dealt with. The cost to our country from this is billions and billions of dollars every year. So I'm hoping to do our little bit to shine some light on this issue.
I've shared before in another session, another interview, but it was Chris Rock. Yes, Chris Rock was being interviewed by Trevor Noah from the Daily Show. And Chris Rock shared that he was going to counseling like 6 or 7 times a week. And Trevor Noah was like, well, isn't that a bit much, basically? You're going a lot. And he was like, well, I'm pretty sure The Rock or, all other people, go to the gym that at least that many times a week. So why is it different to work your body out and make sure your body's in a good space, but not your mind? And my wife and I heard that, and we're like, yes, exactly. Like, our minds are just as important. I mean, in a lot of instances, I think our minds are more important, right? Because if you have your mind, you have nothing. If you don't have your mind, you don't have anything.
Absolutely. And it's time to admit it's not a weakness to take care of it. You think Dak Prescott, he talked about what his brother died of suicide, I think, maybe a murder, but his brother passed away and the trauma he went through after that, trying to deal with it and how it impacted what was going on. You still had sportscasters going on and saying, oh, he's weak. He shouldn't be doing that. He should man up. It's garbage. And we need to get over that as a society. And kids need to know that they can have these things too. And it's not just growing pains. It's not just puberty. There are real issues that go on and impact our chemistry inside our heads. And they need to be addressed. And we need more resources to do it. And we need more. And you think about COVID. The amount of impact on people who are going through this disease right now, people who are staying home and dealing with that. and having those kind of problems from isolation, older people who can't get out at all, can't see anybody. And then there's research now saying 1 in 5 COVID patients develops mental illness within 90 days. These are people who didn't have it, because of the thought of the way COVID is affecting brain chemistry. So we've got to get a handle on this. And once you start digging down and realize how much of society it impacts, it's a little mind-boggling.